So yet again, we have unreliable natural lighting. The sun is coming in and out and in and out. So hopefully it's not too super annoying. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a book tag. I used to do book tags all the time. I have the most fun when I'm doing book tags. I feel like book tags are kind of a lost art because people don't really do them anymore, but there are a lot of good ones out there and it's especially fun when people come up with new ones. I've actually been thinking about creating one myself, but I don't know like what that looks like yet. I wanted to do a book tag because I haven't really been reading much, and so it's kind of hard to like make videos when you're not really reading anything. And so I thought a book tag would be perfect. Also, I just feel like I've been talking a lot about the books that I haven't read yet that I will hopefully maybe read in the future. And so I thought I would shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the books that I have read. Today I'll be doing the Bookish Favorites book tag. This was created by Katie. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, so I'll just put her name here. I just discovered her channel yesterday when I was looking through all of the book tags. I really like this tag because I feel like a lot of book tags have similar questions, like they can get kind of repetitive, and this tag has questions that I've never seen before. There's 14 questions and let's just jump right in. The first question is, what are 5 books that define your reading taste? So first up, I have a couple of romance books. The first one I have is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. This one is a little more unserious. It's about a girl who falls in love with her soon-to-be ex-boyfriend's dad. I read this for the first time last year and I had a lot of fun with it. But then on the other side of romance, we have After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read this in one day like 7 years ago and I've really been thinking about rereading it. This one is about a couple who's been having a lot of problems. They just kind of like lost their spark in the relationship and they really don't want to resort to getting a divorce, and so they decide to separate for 1 year with no contact and then reunite in 1 year to kind of discuss like how they feel and what they think about things and then go from there. I think that these two books show like my spectrum of reading. Like on one side we have something that's kind of unserious and silly, and then on the other side we have something that's a little heavier on the heart, and that's like two different sides of the coin that I really like to read about. Next up I have We Spread by Ian Reid. I read this last year and I really loved it. This is about an old woman named Penny who is going to live in a nursing home, and she kind of experiences some like unnerving things while she's there. This is one of those books that just made me think about life a little bit too long, but I think those kinds of stories are important because there are books that you read for fun, but there are books that you read to open your mind up a little bit about things. And then I have We Used to Live Here by Marcus Klewer. That's what I'm gonna go with, Marcus Klewer. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I read this earlier this year and had a blast. This is a horror novel about uninvited guests who refuse to leave. Horror is like one of my favorite movie genres, and I have never really read a horror novel before. I've read like thrillers, like psychological thrillers, but I've never read like a horror novel, and this one got me really good. I definitely think that this one is worth the hype, by the way. But this book is just exactly what I'm looking for when I'm looking for a spooky read. And then the last book that I want to talk about that I don't actually own anymore is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. So I read this a few years ago and I considered it to be one of my favorite books. I ended up loaning it to one of my work friends, and then a couple months after that he decided to move states. So he moved away and took my book with him, and then when he was gonna come back to visit, because all of his friends and family still live here, he was gonna bring it with him and he didn't. And then a year later, he ended up moving back here. It's been like almost a year since he's moved back, but like I want to say 6 months ago, he got a puppy, a new puppy, and puppy chewed it up. Puppy destroyed my book. And he never actually finished reading it. So that's just like the cherry on top. And so I was actually really sad about that because that book has sentimental value to me. So I don't own it. I've been wanting to get a new copy, but I've just been like really sad that the one that I read out of is gone. Anyways, Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This is a science fiction thriller-ish novel. It's like one of the first sci-fi books that I've ever read, and it kind of opened my mind up to reading more sci-fi. Sci-fi is definitely not a genre that I ever would have imagined myself reading or enjoying, but the ones that I've read so far, I've really liked. But yeah, I feel like those books show off my range pretty well of the things that I like to read. So I feel like I spent a lot of time on that question, so I need to move on. The second question is, what are some books that you were obsessed with in different eras of your life? And I'm really excited to answer it. One of the first books that I remember like ever loving is The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane by Kate DiCamillo. She wrote Because of Winn-Dixie. I don't know if you know what that is. It's kind of like an iconic children's story. It is the story of Edward Tulane, this little porcelain bunny doll. Basically he lives this like super lavish life. Like the girl that he belongs to like just takes such good care of him, but then she loses him like out in the world, and it's about his journey back to his girl and just like all the things that he learned on the way. My third grade teacher read this to us. We would all go sit on the floor on the rug in the front of the class, and she would read to us every day. And this is one of the books that she read to us, and I fell in love. I loved the story. It also helped that I loved my teacher. She was like my favorite teacher that I've ever had. But yeah, I was obsessed with this book for a long time, and I didn't get my own copy of this book until I was like 16. There was a book that I read, I think when I was like in 5th grade maybe, and it carried on into middle school. I just can't think of what it was, but I just know that there is a book from like age 10 to 13 that I was obsessed with. But then the next book that I have is Birthday by Meredith Russo. I said for a long time that this book was my favorite book of all time. It was my favorite romance of all time. I don't know if it still holds as my #1 book of all time anymore, because this was when I was like 18 years old. And I'm 25 now, so it has been a long time since I've read this. I have read it like 3 or 4 times at this point. This book will always have a special place in my heart, but I don't think that it would stand as my favorite right now. This book is about 2 boys who have been best friends since birth. The story is told on their birthdays. They have the same birthday. And I think it goes from like age like 10 to 18. So that's like 8 birthdays that we get to see of their friendship and just what happens as they grow up. And lastly for this question is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I feel like it's a rite of passage to be obsessed with Pride and Prejudice. I've read this for the first time last year, and I've seen the movie a handful of times. I have 12 copies of this book, and I have a Pride and Prejudice tattoo. The third question is, what are your favorite genres? So I love romance. It's just always going to be my #1. And then I love thrillers. I'm getting into horror. I guess like general fiction I enjoy too. I'm getting into sci-fi. I would like to get into fantasy, but I just don't think I could do it. And then I've also been really thinking about getting into classics. I've only read Pride and Prejudice before, but I'm like slowly growing my classics collection / TBR pile, and so I don't know, we'll see one day if I read them. The fourth question is, who are your favorite authors? So I don't have like an author where I've read like all of their books, or just somebody that I can say in full confidence that they are my favorite author. But I can tell you who's writing. I like Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read 4 of her books and I really loved 3 of them. I like Blake Crouch. I like Emily Henry. I like Josh Malerman. But yeah, those are some of the authors that I like, but I don't know like who I could say in full confidence that they're my favorite. The next question is, what is your favorite form of reading? I enjoy all forms of reading. I like physical, I like my Kindle, I like listening to audiobooks. And I think it just kind of switches depending on the stage of life that I'm in, I guess. So like last year, I loved reading on my Kindle. I still love my Kindle, but I haven't really been using it this year. I will always love reading physical books, but again, this year I haven't really been reading too many physical books. I would say the audios are my favorite right now because it's super convenient and easy. 80% of the books that I've read this year were audio. So I think right now audiobooks are my favorite. My Kindle will always be number one place in my heart though. Number 6 is, who are your top favorite characters? I haven't really been able to find a main character that I like relate to on like a really deep level. And so I always struggle with questions like this because I don't know. I don't know. Like, I do care about the characters and like if they're good, solid characters or not. Like, if the characters are bad, if I don't really care about them, then I'm less likely to care about the book. But I also don't have favorite characters. I don't know. I do love Adrian from Life's Too Short. He is the love interest. And I also like, where is it? I don't remember his name, I'm not gonna lie. I like Frasier from Kindling by Bonnie Woods. I read this last year during the fall. It was actually a really cute book. I like him. Adrian and Frasier are similar in that they fell in love with a strong, independent woman. And they just want to like be there for her and take care of her. Not because she needs somebody to take care of her. Like, she can do that herself. But sometimes she needs a break. Sometimes she just needs somebody that she can lean on to help her. And Adrian and Frasier are both men like that. And I really, really love that. I really love that in a man. So those two, like, I just read those books recently, so those were like fresh examples in my brain. I love them. Number 7 is, what are your favorite series? I'm not really a series person. The series that I have started, I haven't finished. I also just don't really gravitate towards reading series, so I don't have an answer for this one. Number 8 is, what are series that I am most excited to finish? I'm gonna change this to series that I need to finish. I guess I can be excited to finish them, but I really do need to finish. I need to finish Twilight, okay? I haven't read Breaking Dawn because I'm scared. I've heard so many mixed reviews. And like, the negative reviews are super negative. So I'm scared. Also, it's like this big. So I've just been really dragging my feet on it for like 8 years now. I don't know. I need to finish Twilight. I need to finish Harry Potter. I've still never read all of the books. And I need to finish the After series. For some reason, I decided that I was gonna read the After series. I've read the first one and I've started the second one, and that's it. I am also scared to finish the After series because they're all this big. Number 9 is, what are series that you are most excited to start? Again, not a series person at all, but I would really like to read the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I've seen the movies, I love the movies, and honestly, it's a crime that I've never read the trilogy, so I would like to read that at some point. Another series that I need to read soon is, I believe this is called the Monsters of Verity duology. The first one is The Savage Song, and then we have Our Dark Duet. These are YA, so I think that's why I hesitate just a little bit. I don't remember exactly what these are about, but I know that they're very popular, and I would like to read them. I enjoy Victoria Schwab's writing, so I could like it. I have another duology here by Brie Paulson. We have Garlic and the Vampire and Garlic and the Witch. This is a little graphic novel duology. I think duologies are just gonna be more fit for me because it's a series, but there's only 2. Low commitment. I am planning on reading these a little bit later this year. This first one is just about Garlic. She lives in a little like vegetable neighborhood, and there is a vampire that moves into this castle, and like the vegetable people are nervous about that, and so they send Garlic, this frightened little girl, to go confront this vampire. But yeah, the art style looks really cute. I think I'm really gonna enjoy this. The next question is, what book do you think will be a new favorite? I have two for this one. I think that I will love Left of Forever by Tara DeWitt. This book is about two people who fell in love really young and ended up becoming teen parents. And now that their son is all grown up, they're having marital strife. After they send their son to college, they decide to take a trip to try to rekindle the marriage. And their names are Ellis and Wren, and I love those names. Also, this man just looks like really rugged and chiseled and great. Like, if they were to make this in a movie, I would cast Pedro Pascal as Ellis. But yeah, I feel like I'm going to love this one, but something in my brain won't let me read this because this is part of like an interconnected standalone series with two other books. The first one is Savor It, which I need to read still, and then there's also one that just came out, I think. But yeah, my brain won't let me read this until I read Savor It. And then also I think I'm gonna love Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. This is about a girl who loses her best friend to cancer, and ever since she just can't quite, you know, feel good about life or do anything with her life until she meets this guy, what's his name, Miles. And I'm assuming he like pulls her out of her funk. But I've just heard a really lot of great things about this one, and I think I'm going to love it. The next question is, what is the prettiest book that you own, or like a special edition book that you own? I have 6 books for this, and I'm so excited. Here they are. First up, we have The Poppy Fields by Nikki Erlich. This is so pretty. I love the green with the purple. I don't love the hot pink sprayed edges, but I love the end pages. That's the poppy field. And I love the naked book. I love this color and I love this. It's so pretty. This is another one of those books that my brain won't let me read until I read the other Nikki Erlich book that I got before this one. The next book that I have is a book that I really, really love the cover, but I did not care for the story, which is really depressing. But it is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. This is so pretty. This is the UK cover, I believe. I really love the rose border with like the thorns and like the twigs, you know, and I like this. I like the font. I don't know, it's just, and this paperback is just smaller than your average paperback, and I just really like that about it as well. I don't know, I just love this. I'm so crabby that I didn't really care for the story. Another book that I really, really love is this edition of Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I just like that this is mostly pink. I like that the pink color is the main color, whereas the original, the main color is orange, which I'm not a huge fan of orange, so I just really like this way better. I also love the blue gingham on the inside. And also there's a quote on this. It was brief, but it was beautiful. I love that. I've never read this. I really need to. But I have to read the 3 other Emily Henry books that came before this one, before I could read this one. That's what my brain said. And then I have this beautiful, beautiful book that my boyfriend gifted to me from a Japanese market. This is Love Like the Falling Petals. It is so pretty. The whole book is pretty. There's the spine, and here's the back. Even if I never read it, which would be a terrible shame, I am never getting rid of this book. And then lastly for this question, I have 2 Pride and Prejudice books that I think are just beautiful, gorgeous. This first one is this. I love this. Here, we'll let this be the main focus. I love this. And here's the back. I do need to take this ugly sticker off, but here's the back. The spine is probably my favorite part. They released multiple classics in this fashion. I think Little Women is the one that I got for my mom, and I kind of wish I got one for myself because that one is like green and pink. It's so pretty. I got this from TJ Maxx for $9. That's crazy. And then the other edition of Pride and Prejudice that I have is this beautiful, beautiful green with like a gold accent. It's not gold, but it's like gold. It's yellow. This was a gift from my mother. I guess she went through a lot of trouble to get it for me. Oh, I love the spine on this one too. This one doesn't have any fun end pages, unfortunately, but it does have this at the beginning. I love this. Number 12 is, what book would you go buy right now just for fun? I don't really have a specific book in mind, but I think that I would buy something that's like not in my reading taste at all, that I've convinced myself that I would like. The next question is, what is your favorite Bookish merch and your favorite Bookish shops? I don't really have much Bookish merch. I also don't really know any shops. The only thing that I could think of that I have is this little embroider decoration thing that I bought from somebody on Instagram. Her name's Jess Decker. I'm not sure if she does these anymore. I got this like 6 years ago. This is from Call Me By Your Name. I read it. I truly think that a lot of it went over my head and I was just like brainwashed into thinking that it was my favorite book. But this is my favorite quote from the book, and it is true. I do love this quote. It's never left my brain. Nature has cunning ways of finding our weakest spot. And it truly does. I'm not somebody who like believes in like Mother Nature and the universe like having control over our fate, our lives, whatever. I believe that that is God. But I think that this quote is true. The weakest points of ourselves are always going to come out no matter what, and we have to face them at one point, and it's up to us to decide how we react to that and how we, you know, overcome those weak points, or we just stay in the same place. And then the last question is, who are your favorite Bookish creators? I love this question. I have a lot. I love Katie is Reading, Gabby Reads, Heather McLary, Sarah Caroli, Ashlyn and Ian Goobley, and the Book Leo. There are other Bookish creators that I watch like almost regularly, but these are my favorites. They are my comfort content creators. And then I also have a few that aren't really like book specific, but they do have book related content on their channel. I like Carla Espinoza, Chloe Bunny. She used to be like just books, but she's kind of like branching out and doing some other things and creating other things that she likes. So she still talks about books, but her channel isn't like just books anymore. And then Ariel Bassett, everybody knows her, everybody loves her. She used to be just books, but the past couple years she's been really focused on renovating her house, and that's what her videos are about now, and I still really love her videos. Those are all of my favorite creators. And we've finally reached the end of this tag. Of course, I found a way to make this video way too long. If you made it to the end of this video, comment the yellow heart emoji. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed this tag. I love the questions. I got a little passionate talking about some of these things, which is why this video is so long. Feel free to answer any of these questions in the comments below. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you soon with another video. Bye.